Hey everybody, good morning. Today we're doing First Chronicles chapter number 5. We're going to talk about the family of Reuben, the family of Gad, and the family of Manasseh. And I'm going to get right into it and pick it up in verse 18. It says, "The sons of Reuben, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh had 44,760 valiant men, men able to bear shield and sword, to shoot with a bow, and skillful in war, who went to war." In verse 20, it says, "And they were helped against them, and the Hagarites were delivered into their hand, and all who were with them, for they cried out to God in battle. He heeded their prayers because they put their trust in him." Verse 22, talking about their enemies, it says, "For many fell dead because the war was God's." And this is a physical war that happened many years BC, and but it gives an outline of how to fight in a war, and it actually gives us a great outline of fighting in a spiritual war for today. We are constantly under attack by the devil, whether we think we are or we're not. He's got there's stuff everywhere to knock us off. Especially, let's say, somebody who struggling with a lust issue or a porn issue. You can't walk into a mall without seeing half naked women. I mean, the devil just has his claws in so many different places around here, and so many different ways to get to us, through our televisions, our computers. Okay, he uses other people. I mean, so many ways. But what did these men do? What's the first thing that these men did in order to win their wars? Is we're going to hit 4 topics. Is number 1, they were skillful in war. We too, as Christians and followers of Christ, need to be skillful in war. And to be skillful in war, God gives us a way to do that in Ephesians 6, okay? Ephesians 6, if you go ahead and you read verses 13 down to about 18 or 19 or so, it tells us that protect your waist. It tells us to protect your chest, to protect your feet. It gives you a shield to protect you from arrows that are coming in. It tells you to protect your head. And it only gives you one offensive weapon. The rest of it's all armor. Okay, the rest of it is all stuff that you need to do yourself. Okay, which, what does he tell us? He tells us these are what you need on your side to win a battle. You need truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation. Those are all to protect you, and the word of God is your weapon. Okay, this is what he tells us that we need in order to win these spiritual battles. Truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, and the word of God is the only weapon you're allowed to use. All the others are made to protect you. Okay, so when we take a look back here, we see that these men were skillful in war. Okay, as it says right in the end, right in verse 18 here, it says these men were skillful in war. We too need to be skillful in those 5 things. And number 6, know the word of God. We need to be skillful in our war so that we are not devoured. Okay, then it says that they cried out to God. And he says that in second half of verse 20. It says that they cried out to God. And when we take a look at Ephesians 6, we see in verse 18, it says, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit. It tells us there that we as well need to cry out to God. That first we need to put on all of this armor. We need to know the word of God, and then we need to cry out to God. We don't go swinging. We don't go name calling. We don't go anything. We cry out to God, is what he says. And then after you cry out to God, what do you do? At the end of verse 27, verse 20. I'm sorry. It says, trust God. They put their trust in him. Okay, so you go ahead and you put on all of your armor. You learn your word, and you know your word. You live your word, okay? And then you pray to God. Then you have to trust him. Okay? How do you ask God to help you with something, and then you go and try and do it yourself? You only make a mess of it. That will only help you lose your battle. We're trying to win the battles here, not lose them. So first you're skillful in war, then you cry out to God, you pray, okay? You learn your weapons, you learn your defenses, and you pray, then you trust God, and then remember in verse 22, it says the war was God's. Now listen, you're not going to win a spiritual war on your own. You can't do it. The devil's too powerful for you to go and attack him on your own. You have to remember that a spiritual battle is fought in the spiritual realm, that you need God. The battle is his. It's not yours. You are to stand on truth and righteousness and peace and faith and salvation. You are to know your word of God. You are to pray to God. Trust him. And then remember, it's his battle, not yours. So, guys and girls, I love you all. I hope you have a super day. I hope this has helped you a little bit in your spiritual walk and maybe in your spiritual war. But look here. Truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation. These are things that nobody can argue with. You can't argue with the truth. You can't argue with your salvation. It belongs to God. You can't argue with faith. Faith is a weapon. Faith is a defense. Faith is just a wonderful thing to know. And righteousness and peace. When you stand on all of these, and then you pray, then you trust God, then you let him work, you'll win your battles. So have a super day, guys. I love you all.